Hello, my name is Carlos, and I'm a chef from Brazil. Today, I want to talk about my journey of learning English, how it's changed my career, enriched my life, and opened doors I never thought possible. In my world, food is the universal language. You don't need words to appreciate the flavor of feijoada, the crunch of pão de queijo, or the sweetness of brigadeiro. But when I started dreaming of working in international kitchens and sharing Brazilian cuisine with the world, I realized something. I needed to learn English. At first, the idea was overwhelming. Learning English felt like tackling a complex recipe without understanding the instructions. But just like cooking, I learned that English is all about practice, patience, and enjoying the process. My first step was connecting my passion for food to learning. I started watching cooking shows and tutorials in English. Shows like MasterChef and Chef's Table not only inspired me but also taught me vocabulary I could use in the kitchen. Words like sear, whisk, and deglaze became part of my daily language, and it made me excited to learn more. Reading was another challenge I had to face. At first, reading English recipes was like deciphering a puzzle. I'd have to translate ingredients and steps one by one. But over time, I started recognizing patterns and learning common phrases. Now, I can read recipes from all over the world without needing to stop and translate every word. One of the first cookbooks I read in English was Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat by Samin Nosrat. It's not just a cookbook, it's a guide to understanding flavor. Reading it in English was difficult at first, but it was also incredibly rewarding. It felt like I was learning two things at once: the art of cooking and the art of language. Speaking English, however, was a different kind of challenge. In the kitchen, everything moves fast, and there's no time to carefully choose your words. I had to learn how to communicate quickly and clearly, even if my grammar wasn't perfect. I started practicing with my coworkers, many of whom spoke English as their second language. At first, I felt shy and worried about making mistakes. But then I realized something important: the kitchen is like a team. Everyone is focused on the same goal: creating amazing food. As long as we understood each other, it didn't matter if my English wasn't perfect. One turning point for me was working with an international chef who only spoke English. I remember the first time they asked me to plate the dish. I wasn't sure what they meant, but I figured it out quickly. Moments like that taught me the importance of listening carefully and staying open to learning. Learning English has also allowed me to share my culture with the world. Whenever I introduce someone to Brazilian cuisine, I feel a sense of pride. Explaining the history behind feijoada or teaching someone how to make pão de queijo in English is not just about food, it's about building connections. One of my favorite experiences was teaching a cooking class in English. At first, I was nervous. Would they understand me? Would I forget the words? But as I started explaining the steps, I saw their faces light up with interest and excitement. By the end of the class, we were laughing, sharing stories, and, of course, enjoying delicious food together. For anyone learning English, my advice is this: find a way to make it fun and meaningful. Connect it to something you love, whether it's food, music, sports, or travel. When you're passionate about what you're learning, it doesn't feel like work, it feels like an adventure. I have a blend of spices I use in my cooking. To me, learning English is like creating the perfect seasoning. You start with small amounts, adjust to your taste, and keep experimenting until you find the right balance. Learning a new language is not always easy, but it's always worth it. It's like mastering a difficult recipe. At first, it seems impossible, but with practice and determination, you can create something incredible. So, if you're learning English, don't give up. Celebrate your progress, even the small victories, and remember that every word you learn is like adding another ingredient to your dish. Thank you for listening to my story. If you're learning English, I'd love to hear what inspires you to keep going. Let's keep encouraging each other to reach for our dreams.